So today I'm going to talk to you about the very first real estate specific artificial intelligence. I know there are other companies out there that are talking about using artificial intelligence inside their system, but essentially what they're doing is basically allowing you to use ChatGPT in your software. We have built a tool called Uzair that is approved by Microsoft as a standalone artificial intelligence tool for this particular sector. We will start at basic with you guys. We're not going to put all of the functions in there, but I can tell you already, I've seen some of the things that this thing can do, and it's pretty mind-blowing. The way that Uzair works is inside the system, it will act as your assistant. So to start with, as I say, we'll keep these tools reasonably straightforward. The two things that you would probably expect it to be able to do that you could argue potentially could be done in ChatGPT: property descriptions and blogs. So how will that side of Uzair work? Basically, you go into the system, there's an icon that you can see dotted around inside Lifecycle, the Uzair icon. When you click it, it'll open up, and you have the option of being able to choose for it to create a property description. If you're on a property, it knows which one you're probably trying to do it for. If you're not, you choose the property, and the system will then create the description for you. Yeah, you could potentially go to ChatGPT and do that. This just saves you a bit of time, effort, and makes it much more convenient for you to do that. We're not using ChatGPT to do this. We're using a different system to do that. So the results might be slightly different based on whether it's a property description or whether it's a blog. For a blog, again, you go into the system and you give it a couple of prompts. We're not at the stage yet whereby you can say things like, write me a statistical analysis of my area. We will get there pretty soon. But at the moment, what we're talking about is articles. You'll decide what the title of that article is, and then you should give us there some guidance, a couple of prompts in terms of the angles that you're looking for. You know, for instance, take into account the fact that cost of living is high at the moment. Take into account the fact that interest rates are higher but seem to be decreasing at the moment. That sort of stuff. Uzair will guide you through it, so you haven't got to be a mastermind at figuring out what to type in. It will ask you questions and you'll answer very basic questions, and from there it will create your content for you, allowing you to just create new blogs for the Lifecycle system, whether it be for your nurture journeys or just for general social media, at the click of a button. The final tool that we're going to put inside Uzair to start with is one that's a little bit more specific and hasn't been done before in a estate agency, and that's automated vendor and landlord feedback. Not something that you can go to ChatGPT and just do yourself, because it requires all of the data that's sitting inside Lifecycle to work. So you'll be able to go onto a property and say that you're going to need to give some sort of feedback to this landlord or vendor. Uzair will figure out how many days that property has been live for you for and ask how many days you want him to cover in the feedback. And then he'll go investigate all the information inside Lifecycle in terms of like how long it's been on the market, which portals it's been on with, how many web views it's had, how many potential viewings, how many matches, how many viewings, what the feedback from those viewings were, if there's any offers, what the situation with is. Figure all that information out and write it beautifully for you as a starting point for you to then look through and see if there's anything that you might want to change before you send it over to the vendor. This is going to save hours and hours and hours of work for people, and also improve your communications with the clients, because there is no excuse anymore. So if you have such a thing as a feedback Friday that you dread, whereby you're going to have to start compiling all the information, putting it all together, let alone writing the email or making the phone call, all that work has just suddenly gone away. Uzair will compile all that and write it for you. And yes, of course, you might decide to slightly edit it or change some of the ways that it's worded things, but it's going to make it so much easier and so much faster, and it's going to improve communication between you and your clients. There's a plugin, an optional plugin for Uzair called Uzair Engage. This one is paid for and is client facing, B2C. And the purpose of Uzair Engage is to turn website browsers into committed clients. Crazy concept, right? The idea being that when somebody goes to your website, and you don't have to have had your website built with us for this, it works in the same way as the pages that are a bit like your instant val tool, or maybe the property search, things like that, whereby it can be on a lifecycle domain and just a link on your website. But on your website, you can say to people now, like, looking to do a bit more research, why don't you let our assistant help you? And when they go to that page, Uzair will guide them through questions, a conversational based interaction, if you like, where first of all, it'll ask them questions like, would you say that you're really looking to do research as a buyer or a seller or a landlord or a tenant? And let's say they say as a seller. Okay, no problem. Next thing that Uzair might ask them would be questions like, would you say that you are in a situation whereby you're just started looking around and want to get an idea of what your house is worth and what the demand for it might be? Or would you say that you're at a situation whereby you're on the market with another agent and you want to get an idea if they're performing well? Maybe you've heard of our company before and you know what your property's worth and you just want to get it on the market. It will have options and conversational style for them to go through and complete. Basically, what will give you an incredible lead, regardless of whether they're on the market with another agent. If they had chose that option, it would ask them things like, okay, well, let's find out, how long have you been on the market? What did you value the property at? And what did the agent value it at? How many viewings have you had? How many offers have you had? All of this information, which is going to come through to you as leads. Same thing, if they just want to get an idea of what my property's worth, then it will work in the same similar way to a instant valuation and still come through as a lead. If they could go a bit further than that, after they've had their valuation, do you want to see what sort of demand there is for your property? And the system will take them on to a page where you, again, can be completely transparent and really break down and show this person what sort of people you have that match against their specific property at the price that they are looking for, leaving them in no question as to the fact that you're the agent that could sell their property. And importantly, putting you in a position whereby you can start saying to people, if you come across an agent that doesn't have this kind of transparency on their website, you should really start to question what it is that they've got to hide and why they're not showing you that information.